Hi everyone!
Hey.
It is now August and we have a few things to talk about, so we're going to jump into it. I think this vlog is a longer one than usual, so we're going to include timestamps down below in case you are
bored
or just not interested in listening to all of it. I was a guest on a couple of podcasts. Naveen, he likes to come home.
I take the back seat.
Yeah.
You do that.
He likes to come home from work and rest, and that's typically when we record these things. So I was by myself on these podcasts. There are two of them.
By yourself.
If any of you like to listen to podcasts, I highly recommend Board Game Barrage. They are a team of three guys who are based in Southern California, and they are really funny and also highly critical of games. You should take a listen to their podcast. Very interesting.
They are critical,
yeah,
but in a good way, in an entertaining way.
Yes, because they are really intelligent. So their discussions are really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
So I was on an episode of Board Game Barage's podcast and where we covered heavy games. Because they're sort of divided in terms of who on their team likes to play heavy games versus light games.
It was appropriate after the Lacerda series.
Yeah, it was fun. I was also on an episode of Boards Alive, which is another podcast, and the host of that podcast, his name is Aaron, and he's hilarious. He's very, very high energy. So that was an entertaining one. We talked about games as well as video games. If you're interested in that, I'll also include that link below. I also guested on an episode of Things Get Dicey. And so Things Get Dicey is, if any of you out there know Paula Deming, she's like a comedian, board gamer, and she's hilarious. And so I just played one of the roles in her episode.
Yeah.
She needed a
Rodney Smith makes an appearance in it?
Yes. I think Rodney Smith makes an appearance in some of her videos.
Some other stuff.
Yeah, he's like a regular. But you should check that one out. And the both of us this time.
I did something.
We were on an issue of Board Game Bulletin, which is a monthly publication by Cameron Art. And if you saw the How to Play video we made yesterday for his Kickstarter, he is the designer of that game, Val, as well as the producer of this publication. There was a lot of Q&A and like kind of get to know you stuff about how we got started in board gaming, etc. So if you're interested in that, then go ahead and give that a read. And lastly, this doesn't really have anything to do with us, but we were approached by a gentleman named, I think, Stephen Lentz.
Stephen Lentz.
Yes. And he wrote a book called The Guide to Board Gaming. It's currently on Kickstarter. He sent us the PDF to kind of like look through it in advance. We honestly didn't really have time to read it all. From what I read, it sounds like it's geared towards parents. It's a read for parents out there who are interested in getting their young children started into board gaming. And when I say young, I mean like 5.
Little ones.
Young, little ones. So if that sounds like you and you are interested in at least checking the book out, then we can include a link to the Kickstarter. Next thing is we have been approached by a few people actually. People have been asking what games we don't like. Because if you noticed on our channel, we do review a lot of games and we tend to like a majority of them.
Or we find the good things in those games.
We do want to talk about that a little bit before we go into games that we don't like. First of all, when we review a game on our channel, before even considering it for the channel, it's already a game that we have shown interest in because there are so many games out there and we only have so much time to feature a game that we would rather feature something that we are interested in because it makes it fun for us as well. The chances of us liking these games are much higher than if we just, say, took a random game off of our shelf and played it. Now, to us, when we make these videos, our goal is to show you how the game is played and try to give you more factual information so that you can make a decision as to whether or not you'll like the game.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, I feel like our opinions are kind of like a back seat. Games that we like but are not like super jazzed about might be a game that you love. So we would hate to kind of take that away from people. And we don't want this to cause a big stink because, you know, when somebody hears that somebody doesn't like a game that they love, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you don't like that game. Okay, now, so for games that we don't like, I'll start.
Okay.
I don't like Gloomhaven, but I'm not really like an RPG. And I know that's like #1 game ever. I think it's cool that you could play that game like for a long time because there's so much content in it. But I don't know. I don't really have that much enjoyment in it. Your turn.
One that I don't really like is viticulture.
I don't like that game either.
I like the concept, I like the theme, and I like what you're doing, but there's a random luck draw of the cards that happens sometimes in that game, and I think that's just a mechanical problem in the game for me.
The last game that we played, I won by a bunch because I drew 2 cards that I just happened to have the proper white
everything lined up
for,
just perfect. And then like I remember, I don't remember the exact situation, but I had this card that was like, I have to work so hard to get this thing going. And so there's no ability to just flush those cards or get something different.
And then he couldn't pull a new card until the next year or something like that? Yeah.
So
I'm not the biggest fan of Great Western Trail, which is funny because we're actually covering that this month in our Fister series. But I think it's a great game. I just don't have that much enjoyment of it, but maybe my opinion will change because we're gonna have to play it a bunch.
Okay, this one is gonna upset a lot of people.
You feel the heat?
I do. Terraforming Mars. Not a big fan. A lot of people love it, probably because I played with experienced players and I was a newbie, but they knew what cards were good. I didn't know what cards were good. And so I was like, this card seems great. I'll take this one. And it was like...
A lot of our friends love that game. And I can see why. I think it's a really cool concept. But yeah, the card part for me, I kind of struggle with.
I think you have to be super experienced with that game. I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
We also haven't played it a lot.
Yeah, I have to play it more. I'm willing to play it again.
I also didn't really care too much for Orleans.
I like that one.
But Naveen really liked it.
That one's good.
As well as the Orleans-like sequel. I forgot what it's called now.
Altiplano?
Altiplano.
That one I haven't
like
played.
That game.
I haven't played it.
I've only played Altiplano once, but it just didn't spark joy for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's probably as much as I'm going to share.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make too many people mad. But I know of a game that Naveen actually hates. Naveen hates this game.
Hate is such a strong word.
Oh, you've used that word several times. The reason why we own it is because I really like this game.
Well, would you like to tell them the title if they can't read it?
It's called Fantasy Realms, and it's a really quick filler that maybe Naveen will let me showcase one day, but you're basically trying to just gather a hand of, I think it's 11 cards, and each card kind of combos with one another depending on which faction of people you have in your hand.
You're trying to score the most points by the end of the game by having a combination of this total of 10 cards, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And there's cards that will contradict each other, so it's like a lot of min-maxing, like, oh, find the queen and then get 50 points, but another card in your hand might say, if you have the queen, lose 10 points, so...
You sound so excited. There you go. We did it. So for all of you out there who are wondering... Don't
punish us. I'm sorry.
Hope you enjoyed that.
Tell me why I'm wrong about Terraforming Mars, please. So for this month, we are starting the Alexander Pfister series. We do have 9 of the games.
So it seems like the options are Port Royal, Oh My Goods, Mombasa, Isle of Skye,
Broom Service, Great Western Trail,
Blackout Hong Kong.
Yep, Blackout, Expedition
to New Dale, and
Maracaibo.
Yes, those are the 9. And so we're going to be doing the same thing with these games. We're going to try to do one game maybe every 2 weeks. So it's going to go on for a while.
Yeah, with 9 games, that could be a long time.
Yeah, potentially. So every 1 to 2 weeks. If we're feeling aggressive about it, then we'll do them back-to-back weeks. But we'll see depending on how our life schedule goes as well. And so in addition to that series, we're going to be featuring some other games. We eventually want to do a repeat of Scythe with the 2 expansion factions this time. We're definitely going to feature the new Petrichor Cows expansion that is currently on Kickstarter. High Rise also got delayed to this month, a game called Dominations. And we are going to showcase the new super filler from Mr. Vitala Cerda, the Mercado de Lisboa.
We did get that.
We just don't know when we're allowed to actually make a video for it. But as soon as we know, we will put it up. And as per usual, our favorite game of the month. Would you like to start?
The one for me this month was a new game coming out by Board and Dice. It is called Tekenu Obelisk of the Sun, and we played it on Tabletopia, and not the real copy, so I don't know what it really looks like, but basically
exactly.
It's a dice selection game.
Dice drafting?
Dice drafting?
No.
It's an action selection.
It's action selection via dice.
Yeah, it's action selection dice game with a Egyptian theme to it. So it's right up my alley. That
game is by 2 designers, one of which was the designer who made Teotihuacan.
Another board and dice game.
Yeah, another board and dice game. That's true. My game of the month was another game that I played. I think this one I played on Tabletop Simulator, and it is by the creator of Pipeline. If any of you out there have played Pipeline, Ryan Courtney. So he made a 2-player only game called Curious Cargo. It's coming out by Capstone Games, and he actually taught me how to play it, and I played against a friend of ours, and it is so good. It's really good. It's like If you really like Pipeline, it has a lot of the similar mechanics it has those pipes. So you're still playing with like the abstract puzzle of the pipes, but there's no money. It's much faster.
Okay.
It's like 30 minutes or less. You're in, you're out, but it's hard. It's
And 2-player only game.
2-player only.
Only, okay.
So, and I really like 2-player only games that kind of like force my brain to work out a little bit, and that's definitely one of them. But as per usual, what was your favorite gaming experience of the month? And did anybody out there join any of the online conventions?
Yeah, Gen Con Online.
Yeah, if so, what were your thoughts on it? Because I know it's kind of like, it's kind of a tough topic. Yeah, because for a lot of people it's like not the greatest, but at the same time, that's all we have.
Yeah, because board games are so social and, and
it's
tactical.
hard to bring it to just online.
Yeah.
So, but we'd love to hear what your thoughts were on your experience. Another question is, we got a lot of feedback from our Pendulum review, and a lot of people liked the fact that we had a dedicated review like a couple weeks after we did the playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
We were only able to do that because we had an embargo on that game.
Right.
And so that's not something that typically happens. Is that something that you prefer? Would you rather us do the playthrough, wait a week, gather questions, and then address them all in one review a week later? Or are you kind of okay with us just doing like the playthrough with a review at the end? Because we're open.
We got a lot of good feedback to that style. So we were curious as to, is that something we want to continue to do in the future, or was it just kind of a one and done?
Right. We can go either way, but we would love to hear your feedback. And lastly, there are a lot of viewers who joined our channel in the past month. So we would love to get to know you. If you are comfortable or willing to introduce yourself in the comments below, please go ahead and do so. If you would like to do a more private intro, feel free to email us. But and tell us what your favorite game is. Mm-hmm. And also, what would you like to see us play on our channel? That is something that we always love to hear. Yeah.
And as usual, thank you guys so much for following along and supporting our channel. We really enjoy doing these videos once a month, and then also doing the playthroughs, the reviews. So thank you guys for your continued support.
A couple of people have been asking if we have a Patreon. We currently do not. We probably won't open one anytime soon. Yeah. But if you'd like to know how you could support us, the best thing is to just help spread the word of the channel. Thumbs upping our videos and engaging in the comments below helps so much. Thank you so much, and we will see you at the table in our next video. Bye.